have with me today Rosalind Ryder. She is here with us, and also Faith Hall. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. Thank you for your service to our country. I know our listeners can't see right now. One of them is in uniform, so I know she's representing our government, our Army, right? Or no, Air Force. I'm sorry. Got to make sure I got that right. And I know Rosalind here. She's been in also in the service, and also I just learned that you were also a sheriff for about 20-something years, right? Correct?
Yes, sir.
And so thank you, ladies, for being here. Say hello to the people that are listening.
Hello.
Hello there.
Well, thank you again for joining us. Rosalind, let me go with you first, because I was kind of talking with you, and I know that you want to share a couple of things with the audience and the listeners that are listening right now. First of all, give us a little background. I mean, I know where you're coming from a little bit, but our listeners may not know. So you can share with us maybe a little background.
Okay, a little background about me. As you mentioned, I'm a former correctional officer with the state of Texas. Did about 24 years, retired in 2011, went on to be a deputy sheriff, and did that for a little while. And I was doing that concurrently with the military. Mm-hmm. Been a United States Air Force reservist, and have did that and still presently serving. So I'm at 24 years, and I just re-enlisted for 6 more years.
Wow. You didn't have enough. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much again for your service and everything you've done so far. You keep adding and adding, which is awesome. Also, Faith, please let us know a little bit about you.
Okay, just a little bit about me. Again, Faith Hall. I've been in the military 24 years, looking to retire actually in March of next year. So looking forward to going forward with that. That's pretty much been my life since graduation from high school, but I've done everything from finance to services. I even did a basic training instructor or drill sergeant for the Army folks for a few years. And then now I'm back in finance, went active duty. Now I'm in the reserve. So, done a lot of things, just dabbled here and there. Looking forward to working full time with the ministry and just watching it grow and just watching God move, because there's a lot that needs to be done.
Amen, amen. So you're not thinking about re-enlisting again?
Oh, that's a no.
You're pretty sure about that, right?
Oh, yes, yeah, definitely
like
done.
I put in my time, I'm done, I'm out of here, and that's great.
Oh, yes.
No, again, well, thank you so much for what you all do for serving our country again. And now you're in transition, because it's not, you would think for the ordinary person, it's like, it's retirement. I know we were talking a little bit about Hawaii a little while ago, but you think, yeah, I'm going to go here and try but that's not, from what I understand, that's not the plan, right? Because it's like, no, we still got so much to do. Correct. And so that's kind of what we want to talk about, right? What is some of the visions or some of the things that you all are doing? I know the ministry that you have just started off. I know we were talking about earlier about you've already kind of been doing this before at your home level. Mm-hmm. And that's phenomenal, because, that's awesome what you were doing. But to be able to say, okay, we're in transition, not to retire, but to keep moving. Like I always say, we're going to keep carrying on. Share a little about that vision or what you're doing as far as your ministry is concerned.
So, very good question. One of the things that we're really focused on is here in the local community in San Antonio, we are desiring to have a home that will be donated to us. The purpose of the home is dealing with the aging out foster care kids. What a lot of people do not know is that 18 years old, mm-hmm. the foster care kids are emancipated, meaning they have to leave the foster care person's home. In this particular area, normally they're sent to Haven for Hope, which is our state-of-the-art homeless shelter. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, because there's such a demand here in this community, it's usually full. And if it's full, then that means our aging out foster care kids are then homeless. What we would like to do is have a donated home so that we could have a relationship with the case manager, the parent of that foster care child, mm-hmm. and then begin to interview that foster care child and set up a established relationship where not only they want to come with us, but we also want to have them in our home. Rather than them being transported to Haven for Hope, we can then go straight there and pick them up, and then we can take them to the home that we'll have donated.
Right. And that's so important. Yeah, like you said, a lot of things that, being part of Bridging the Gap, you hear a lot and you learn a lot. And I know we've had some partnerships that one that comes to mind. She's with the CPS, Faith. She's a liaison for the foster kids as far as in that. But you realize that. And you don't stop to think that at 18, that's it. You're not part of the system anymore. You're like an adult. You're on your own. It's like, yeah, thank you and bye.
Yes.
And if you realize, we were all 18 once, you realize that you kind of like, I'm on my own. I'm like an adult now. Some of us can't even with the right resources that we have, a good family and everything. I was like, what do I do now?
That's right.
So can you imagine somebody who's been a child who's been placed from foster home to foster home? They don't have roots. They don't have anything. They're just wanting to survive each day. For them to say, okay, thank you, but you're out of here. You figure it out on your own. And that's the difficult part, because it's like, what do they do now? And that's what you're addressing.
Right. And unfortunately, the percentages are so high. You're talking about in excess of 60 to 70% of those homeless children either have to resort to prostitution, they may be raped, they're on the streets. And so, we want to be able to combat that by avoiding that, being able to take them into our home. Faith and I are already dealing with the young population, and it's just amazing how many areas that are deficient in their lives. And so we have used our own vehicles and wore them out, teaching kids how to drive and get their driver's license. And so it's just cognitive skills, like you said.
Right.
We've been talking to a lot of adults and talking to them about, do they remember when they were 18? And a lot of them have the same story that you have. And they come from homes where they had the stability and they didn't know what they were going to do. So if we can come in and teach them those life skills and be able to figure out what areas they still need, whether it's finishing a high school diploma or whatever the needs are, and we can meet each one of them individually, and being that we connected with Bridging the Gap, we have those community resources that would be able to give them the things that they need. So it's not us doing it on our own. We have the resources that can reach out and be able to ensure that they get whatever it is that they need.
Right. And that's so important, because I know, I know we always say, right, well, I can do everything with God who strengthens me. And yes, we can do, what's that saying? I'm trying to remember. We can do anything. We just can't do everything.
Right.
Because sometimes we can. We want to stretch ourselves so far out that sometimes we become ineffective. And sometimes you have to partner up with people that have hopefully the same heart that you do, have the same vision, the mindset to be able to say, yes, I want to help. I want to be part of this team. And so when you do that, it lessens the load on you, so you can do more things, of course. But that's what I believe, Bridging the Gap is being able to make those connections to help you do more, not to do less, but actually to be able to empower you to do more. And so that's a great thing that I know some people have been telling me that. So I'm very encouraged by hearing that as well. Faith, how do you play into this, or how did you come about? Was it something that she sold you the vision on, or something that you've already had in your heart prior to this, and it was just a good connection, or how did this connection come up?
Yay, that's a good question. Me and Roslyn kind of became friends through work connections, just dealing with things throughout the military and just helping her with some of the financial things, being in the finance office that she had to deal with. And just, being connected with her, you connect with her long enough, it's not going to take her long to tell you about her vision and tell you about her ministry.
I'm learning that.
Yes. And it just pretty much started with just doing women's ministry stuff, going to retreats, and then building on the different retreats and the things that she was doing to love on other ladies, letting them know, help them realize their visions and helping them grow in their visions. And then it just kept growing and expanding into realizing the different areas throughout the world, the United States, that need help. You have the foster care system, you have the adoptions process, but it's like, okay, so what do you do with those children after? And it's like, what happens to them when that parent says, bye, have a nice day? What do they do with themselves? And just looking at the statistics of what's happening with these kids, the human trafficking, the homelessness, the dropping out of high school, the teenage pregnancies, all these things that happen in the normal life that is like maximized with these foster care children. And it's like, how can we help? And it just pretty much just growing with her vision and realizing that, there's so much that needs to be done, so much that we can do, even though we don't have much. We just take what we got and make it grow. And that's pretty much where we've been where we've been going with it. Literally just adjusting things, trying to figure out how can we get more so that we can help more, because just willing to stretch ourselves to the max, but just doing what we can to try to make that happen.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And you do have to have a heart for that. Like I have a heart, like I was talking to you about that for the youth, and understanding the problems, the issues they deal with. And a lot of times it's like, you know what, can we get them at this age before they get into that situation where they're adults and they're all the problems, and, you know, they're going to jail and the drugs and all this, because I think if we can reach them at an earlier age, that lessens the chance of them getting into doing the wrong thing. But unless we're there, then it's not going to happen. And I think the need is more greater now after COVID, because they were dealing with all this before.
Right.
But now COVID gets dumped on you, and it seems like, oh my God, you know, I thought I had issues. Now I have more because of the quarantine or the isolation, you know, the losing a parent, or, I mean, there's so many things that we're not even probably seeing right now until down the line,
Right.
how all this has affected, you know, the young people in a mental way. Because even, again, the things that we're dealing with now, it's like, here, on top of that, let me throw that on you. And so I think it's beautiful to be able to say that you guys are being able to, you know, go and do something about it rather than talk about it. Because a lot of times I always tell people, we already know the problem, right?
Right.
We keep talking about it over and over. And I said, I don't want to hear that anymore. I want to find a solution. I mean, sometimes the solution starts with me, but let's create more of a solution and talk about the problem.
Exactly.
And so that's what your ministry is doing. I think it's actually, you know what, putting words into effect. And so I know that I want to talk real quick before we still have a little time, but I know that you have an event, or that you're looking, and I'm going to throw this out there because from experience, I know that, you know, things do happen in a certain way sometimes. That we had one time a pastor, when we first started our Bridging the Gap, I don't know how, some or another, he ended up here. He was from Papuria, Texas, which is down toward the border, the south. And I had him on the radio, just like here, like we were doing. And I just put it out there. I said, is there a need or something that you're, you know, something maybe you want to put out there that somebody may be able to bless you or help you with? He goes, well, we have a little small church. He said, we only have about 4 2x4s, and we want to do, I'm trying to remember if it was an addition or remodel or something, add to the church. He said, but that's all we have. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to put it out there. There may be somebody listening right now that wants to sow a seed into your ministry. I said, I don't know what, who, or how. I said, but I believe, because I've seen it happen. And I said, we'll just put it out there. I said, if somebody would like to bless this church or invest in the church, because you're investing in a church that's going to be able to reach the community. I see it as an investment. Reach out to them and see if you can help them. Well, you know, we left it at that, and about 2 or 3 weeks later, he somehow or another, we got in contact, and he said, hey, guess what? I said, you know, because of I'm not saying because of this necessarily, the radio program, but, you know, God, you know, used the radio program for him to let someone know that there was a need. And so he said, you know, somebody, I don't know who it was, but they sent over a truck of lumber.
Wow.
Yeah. And we have, I don't know if that was enough to do what they would need to do, but I said, hey, you got more than a couple of 2x4s now, right? So I'm going to put that out there, because I know that there's a need that you're looking to do more. So share that as far as the property or what you're looking to do.
So we, small scale, we are believing in God for a donated home here in the San Antonio area. We would definitely like for it to be in a good area, a good neighborhood, because we don't want the kids to struggle with an atmosphere or an environment that they've already been a part of.
Right, exactly.
And so one of the things that we're requesting is a nice backyard, because we want to be able to have a beautiful garden where the kids can go out and we can teach them gardening. And we have some people that are part of our ministry that are wonderful chefs, and they are willing to give them some culinary skills. And we just believe those are just some of the small things that the kids can be able to pick up on. And it tends to give you a sense of pride when you can see something grow. Right. And it's very relaxing. Yeah. So it's good therapy to be able to go out in that yard.
Yeah, they take ownership of it. This is mine.
They absolutely do.
Right.
So we definitely are wanting that property, but we're also believing in God for 100 acres of land that we've already put our eyes on. We've went and prayed out on the property. It's about 2.5 hours from here. We're working with a realtor, so we're looking for investors. And the purpose of that is that these same kids that we'll have in the home here in San Antonio, we will be able to work on them with their cognitive skills and different things. And as they mature, then we can take and bring them out there to that property where we're believing in God to have dormitories and vocations and different things for them to be able to live out there on the property and live a little bit longer out there.
Amen.
Yes.
And you know, let's be honest, all I'm hearing is solutions. That's what I'm hearing to a problem.
Yes.
And that's what we want to do, right? We want to talk about solutions, not only talk about them, but we want to be able to implement those solutions. And again, I always believe, you know, we have a lot of smart people out there listening. I know, you know, very well off people. I get that. You know, God's blessed you in so many different ways. And some of you, let's be honest, you invest in stocks and you invest in, you know, trying to get more money and that's great. That's awesome. But sometimes, you know, I think for me, the greatest thing is that you can invest in a life. You know, and if your resources are capable of saying, hey, you know, I can't go and do the work with you, but what if I bless you to be able for you to do what you're doing?
Amen.
And that sometimes is the case, right? Somebody may say, I can't do it, but I want to bless you. And maybe somebody wants to bless you with money. I don't know. I mean, I've seen it happen because, you know, we got blessed with $100,000 from a man that we didn't even know. And so that was in the beginning what we were starting, you know. And so I know it can happen. So we'll put it out there. I don't know. If it's God's timing right now to happen, it'll happen. If it may be a month or a year from now, then let it be so. But I believe that the best thing we can do is invest in people that are willing to make a difference in someone's life. And you know what? When you do that, what you are doing with the kids, that investment falls on them. And then as they grow older, you know, they're going to reap the fruits of that investment somehow, some way in their own family.
Amen.
And so what a way to be able to do that. Or maybe you have a house. Let's be honest. I passed through San Antonio. There's a lot of houses that look like they've never been vacated. The last thing you want is code compliance coming in here and citing you because, you know, the way it is or what happens. I mean, anything helps. I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't turn down the house if that was the case right now.
No way.
Yeah. So if somebody's out there and saying, hey, I got tired of, you know, that home just sitting there, please give them a call and you know, donate that house. Be an investor in something that's going to be awesome. And so that's what we're putting out right now. Faith, anything else that you would like to talk about that maybe you're thinking about or something that God has placed in your heart?
Rosalind's already, you know, pretty much brought out the majority of what we're trying to do. When we get that 100 acres of land, we are wanting to grow it as a community, because when people feel involved in something, a part of something, then they're able to flourish because they know they have someone to go to when they're feeling in those moments. Then they have that person to turn back to. I mean, there's so much, and we have so much that we want to grow in and so many things that we want to do. I mean, even on Saturday, we have the goodies for your hoodies, and we're, you know, there's just doing things just to start. We're starting to try to collect those donations, starting to try to collect monetary donations and the hoodies just to be able to give them something new, you know, give them something that they can something tangible that they can hold on to, and just even start giving them that hope, you know, all these different things. So today, Saturday, you know, from 11 to 7, there's been this big event to try to just gather those things to be able to just start loving on them even now. So small scale, you know, you start with the donations, then donate a house, then donate a village. And so that's what we're trying to do, just build on the dreams that are and the passions that's in our heart. And it's not about us.
Right.
It's not about us being seen. It's not about us being noticed. If nobody knew who I was, I would not mind that at all, as long as the people who are needing to be helped are the ones getting helped. And that's literally what it's all about, just being able to be there for someone else. I don't think Jesus came to this earth to just to serve himself, to save his own soul. He was perfect. He came here to save the world. And so we just want to be a part of that, you know, just be able to just put our little mark in the world to just help somebody else.
That's right. Amen. And you know, that what you said is so true. I believe that because I always believe, you know, the cause should be greater than you. because a lot of times it's like, well, it's more about me than the cause, and it's like, yeah, that's not how Jesus worked, like you said, I came to serve, not to be served. And this was the King of Kings, right? You figure, why would he be serving me? But no, that's what he said, and that's the example he left us. It's like, this is what you do. But a lot of times I get it, it may go a little to your head and it's, look what I've done and all this. I'm like, yeah, maybe, but God allowed you to make it happen.
That's right.
And so you always, I need to keep myself in check, because it could vary, the position I have now that they've given me, which, it's a title. It doesn't mean anything to me. I get that. I understand that's what it is, but I got to keep myself in check to make sure that what I'm doing is because God has allowed me to do.
Amen.
And that is for the people, not for me. I mean, the blessings come back to you. Don't get me wrong, because like I said, it never comes back void. Whatever we give or how we serve it, somehow or another, we're blessed. And I've never lacked for anything. So I know that for a fact. And hearing what you're saying, that a lot of times you don't hear a lot, and I'm not bashing. A lot of times you hear ministries that say, "Well, we're doing this, we're doing that," and we're doing like, okay, it's all about you. But when I hear that, it's not about us. It's about, doing God's work, and especially, the kids, then absolutely. I know people want to get behind that, because it is something that is going to be a blessing, again, to find a solution, to find the answer to a problem that I know exists wholeheartedly. And so that's what we want to do, and we hope we can partner with you to help you in that capacity. Anything else before we kind of come to an end that you want to share about what's going on or how things are going?
I think the biggest thing is that, we're not concerned about being able to do everything. As I mentioned before, because of our connection and partnership with Bridging to the Gap, then it has enabled us to have all the necessary resources that we need in order to make sure that what we're doing is going to be successful. And so I think that partnership has really made a difference for us and prepared us for such a day as now.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I, like I told you before, that encourages me to know, okay, I got to keep doing what I'm doing and make it better, because there are always ways to do things better. If you're not moving, then what are you doing? The fact that you could just stay put, you're going to become stagnant. And we know that, when water stays stagnated, it's not creating life. It's just really just you don't even want to drink it, you don't want to touch it. So we need to keep moving, and God's the water of life. So we're flowing. We got to flow with the go. And so we're thankful that we were able to help in whatever capacity we can do that. And if anybody's listening, I know sometimes people ask, what's Bridging the Gap? You just kind of heard what Bridging the Gap is about, how it's been able to help people or impact people to do more than what they're doing. And so if you ever want to be part of our meetings, we encourage you, go to our website, btgnation.org, or go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Bridging the Gap Community. There you're going to find some of the things that we're doing, some of the things that are happening, or meetings that are coming up. You'll find a calendar there. But please, by all means, just go and if you want to get connected, if you've been thinking about it, you've heard testimony here. I didn't pay them. They're saying this flowing from their heart. So I appreciate everything you're doing and everything that's going on. Now, real quick before I end, if somebody wants to donate, maybe somebody God always put in their heart right now. God says, man, somebody's, and believe me, if God's telling you to do something, just do it. But where can they get in touch with you for either services or more information?
They can either call 210-376-1058, or they can call 210-446-8663. And just let us know. Look for Rosalind or Faith, and we'll be able to point you in the right direction.
Okay.
Yep. And the website is www.iadministries.com.
Well, thank you again. We're almost at the end of our show here, about maybe 20 seconds, but thank you again. Again, if you're out there, if you want to help, if you want to join, if you want to volunteer, please reach out to them. Believe me, this would be a blessing for you to connect with them, because I've gotten to know them, and I can tell you that their heart is really where their heart is for helping the youth and for what they're doing. And these ladies have served our country. Let's help them by giving back to them as well. Again, we're going to be back here again next week. If you need more information about our organization, or if you just maybe want to know anything in particular, please call me directly at area code 210-550-1966, or visit our Facebook page as well and leave us a message. God bless.